As most of us know, NetEase released a teaser a few months ago announcing a Fatal Frame 2 crossover, and have recently given a bit more detail. At the time of recording this, Geisha's crossover skin for Sai has been announced, so before any more news is released, I want to make a quick video talking about my thoughts and what I want to see in this crossover. Now, before we get started, I will say that there are Fatal Frame 2 spoilers within this video, so please, if you don't want to know them, please click off right now. Alright, without further ado, let's get into it. One of the more personal reasons why I like this crossover is because it really delves into the horror element again. Because if you look back a little bit, you can see that Identity doesn't always do crossovers with horror-related media, so whenever they do actually have a crossover with something that's horror-related, it does make for a decent crossover. Now normally when you glance at a crossover, it would seem a little odd that out of all the 5 games in the Fatal Frame series, the second one is actually getting the crossover. But when you dig a little deeper and actually look at the content within Fatal Frame 2, you do see why they choose this one. Because off the bat, you can already see that Crimson Butterfly would obviously go well with Geisha, but what's also is a tiny but very clever detail is the fact that Mio's skin is going to be for Perfumer. Because when you look at Vera's lore, you can see that Vera herself is actually a twin. So giving Perfumer a costume that's based on a twin, it just makes a little more sense. And for my last reason, I just overall love the Fatal Frame series, so it really makes me happy to see it. Now it's almost certain that Mio will be a Perfumer crossover skin, and so I would love if they had Mayu be added somewhere in the same costume. Now personally, I think when using the perfume, Mayu can be seen as the double, or something to even do when the exit gates are powered where Mio changes into Mayu and is surrounded by crimson butterflies, kind of like how Hajime's appearance changes from the second Danganronpa crossover. And what I would want from Geisha's skin is obviously the crimson butterflies over Geisha's normal butterflies, but I want something to spice it up a little bit. Like maybe adding an effect to the rocket chairs. It would be cool to have the chairs add something to do with the Crimson Sacrifice ritual. Also, I have an idea where the attack cooldown animation is different. Similar to Monokuma's animation where he laughs, it would be really neat if Sai let out her creepy laugh from the game. Now as you all know, every A tier or higher rarity costume has their own interface animation every time you hover over them. So here's my ideas for both of the costumes. For Mio, I think they could do the scene where they first arrive at the village.
I wonder if anyone's here.
Mio thinks Mayu put her hand on her shoulder, but then Mayu walks past her, revealing that it was actually a ghost that was behind her, presumably Sai. The most impactful idea that I have, but it's most likely less gonna happen because of the way NetEase does things, I think it'd be really impactful if they did the scene where Mio is killing Mayu. It's such a memorable scene because it's finally revealed what this Crimson Sacrifice ritual is like, so it's really heart-wrenching to have to see the two main characters do it themselves. Now like I said, it's less likely to happen because of the way NetEase does things, because it might be too graphic, so if the scene itself is too graphic to recreate, then I have an alternate version. I think another memorable scene is the scene right after Mio kills Mayu, is where Mio is chasing after Mayu's Crimson Butterfly and is screaming, "I'm sorry." Now for Sai, I would like to see the first time you officially see her, and where she's surrounded by bodies and she's laughing hysterically at Mio. I think that scene really drives home of how scary she really is, so I think it would be a nice interface animation. But for my last idea, I think this will definitely be the coolest one out of them all. It's the scene where Sai is walking towards Mio, and Mio pulls out her camera obscura, but Sai is nowhere to be found in the camera obscura lens. Then Mio proceeds to put the camera down and see Sai walking right at her, only a few feet ahead of her. I think that scene is really eerie in its own sense, and that's why I would love to see it in an interface animation. Now, I know that this one is a bit iffy, because the Mio costume will probably change the perfume bottle to the camera obscura, but I think they could probably pull off making the camera obscura an accessory as well. And I think it could have the camera flash while also having the sound of the shutter. And I tried really hard to think of anything major for Sai, but I honestly couldn't come up with anything. But since NetEase likes to throw in a B tier accessory every now and then, I think they could make this one a quest related accessory. And I think it could be the staff that the people use during the Crimson Sacrifice ritual. And that pretty much wraps up all my thoughts and ideas. Hopefully at least a handful of my ideas become reality, but I personally am so excited for this crossover and will gladly do a showcase of the skins. And also don't hesitate to leave your own ideas and thoughts about this crossover down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.